What's going on, guys? Larry Brown here with another whiteboard session. I did one of these a few weeks ago, maybe a little over 2 months ago, and want to do another one. Would like to make this kind of a regular series, just my thoughts on training and all that good stuff. And yesterday I posted that I did a shoulder and arm routine and how much I didn't like that particular grouping of body parts, and it got me to thinking, well, what do you like, Larry? What are some of your favorite pairings? So we're going to be starting this little bit of series called Training Splits I Like, and this is obviously part one, and we're going to go into a couple of different ones that I've used, that I've given to other people, and we're going to just dive into it a bit, and hopefully you can get some good information about this. Maybe try some of these splits yourself, and get some good gains from it. But before we get into that, I want you to like and subscribe to the channel, and I'm going to be bringing you much more content. Got a bunch of content already up. Vlogcember is still pretty fresh, things that were only within the second week of January. So if you haven't taken a look at Vlogcember, where I attempted to put up a video every day in the month of December, please go ahead and take a look at that. A lot of good information in there, a lot of good motivation as well too. So diving in, upper, lower, upper, lower. This style of split, known as the upper lower split, obviously, is good. This is one of the splits that obviously I've used before, and the reason why I like it so much is because you have a limited amount of exercises that you can do for each one, and then you have a limited amount of volume that you can do for each one, which, if you do it hard enough, you can actually factor in some really good recovery. So the way that I like to do an upper lower split, number one, Monday, Tuesday, off Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, off Saturday and Sunday, right? So Saturday and Sunday you get a full complete rest, and then there's a couple of ways that you can do this. So let's start off with one. I know that there is a lot of emphasis these days on main workouts and pump workouts. The upper lower split lends itself well to that. So you could do heavy upper, light lower, light upper, heavy lower. That's a pretty good one. Or you could do like I like to do. I like to front load all of my training, all of my heavy training. It's incredibly difficult, but you can do it. So heavy upper, and then going to heavy lower, and then ending the week off with 2 light sessions, and then you're going into a weekend of recovery. Why I prefer the 2 heavy days up at the front right here is because if I front load my training, obviously I'm going to be bashed by Wednesday, so I'm going to need that that day of recovery, right? I'm going to need that rest to gear up for the last 2 days of training. But guess what? These can damn near just be an active rest period, right? So nothing high in the RPE or in the RIR range, right? Stop short just a failure, put blood in the muscle, stimulate it just a little bit, let your body know that, hey, we're still training, we're still putting blood in here, so I need you to recover faster. And that will actually help you going into the weekend, so you don't get in too much of a detrained state when these heavy days come up. Now, what I will tell you is that on these heavy days, you're doing, especially with upper, because you're doing chest, you're doing back, you got some overlay into arms, you got shoulders. What I would specifically focus on this upper day is chest, back, shoulders. All right? I wouldn't even worry about arms for this particular one right here. Obviously, I would add an arm day for the pump day, but we'll get into that. The reason why you want to limit your volume on this and only train these 3 right here is because it takes a lot of weight to stimulate these body parts. into growth. You're going to do some heavy loading for chest. You're going to do some heavy loading for back. You're going to do some moderate to heavy loading for shoulders, especially if you're doing any type of overhead press. If you go the lateral route, then obviously some things need to change around. Just do a lateral only workout. I did a lateral only shoulder workout yesterday on my YouTube. You may want to check that out. Delts and arms again. This will still work, because even though this is not done heavy, these two are, and these two done heavy are brutal. Okay, now you can train these body parts alone, right? Or in this upper session, you can superset chest and back, or alternate between chest and back for the majority of the workout, and then move on to shoulders. This will pack on size very fast, especially if you limit the volume. So we're training upper body twice a week. If you want to follow that particular philosophy, if you go with the Renaissance periodizations model of MRV, maximum recoverable volume, or MEV, minimum effective volume, that is actually good on these. So let's just say we want a hard 8 sets for chest, not including warm-ups, okay? We got a hard 8 sets here, and then we got a hard 4 here. So that's what, 12 sets a week for chest, or we could do 8 and 8. So that makes it 16 sets for chest, or you can do 10 sets for chest, hard sets, and then you have 20 sets a week. So that's probably about the maximum you want to go, is 20 sets a week for your chest. That's about all I advise. I don't see anybody really recovering for anything over 20, but there are genetic freaks out there. So you can titrate the volume for each body part up and down. So on upper, you may want to limit it a little bit more than you would on your heavy day than you would on your pump day. Keep in mind that your pump day can still be low in set, but higher in rep. Mainly because you want that blood volume in there to help facilitate recovery. Also, when it comes to shoulders, this is where I would do the bulk of my shoulder workout, right here. Okay, so I'm going to be looking at, if it was me personally, and I have weak shoulders, I'm one of those more is better, and if we have to back off, we can back off, right? So I'm going to start off at 10 sets for shoulders, but then when I get here, I'm probably only going to do another 6 sets of something that I can do for a higher rep, 12 rep, 15, 20, stuff like that. And again, I'm not going to be hitting failure on them. I'm going to be coming very, very close, but I'm not going to hit failure. Now, on these days right here, we're going to move away from these days before I get in the lower, but on these days right here, what you want to keep in mind is that you want to do something that's not very draining on the nervous system. So a lot of selectorized stuff, all right, body weight stuff that you can get away with a half movement on, especially for upper. Floor pressing for chest, rows where you don't really have a huge stretch to it, or don't stretch out all the way, just kind of keep it contracted on the muscle, keep the pressure on the muscle. So that's one way you could do upper. And now moving on to lower, I'm not going to say that's where it gets a bit more complicated, but that's where it gets a bit more difficult. So again, using my front loading training model that we got up here, heavy, light. Okay, so if I'm going to do heavy lower body, immediately I'm thinking, what can I do to give me the best bang for my buck, right? So for many, that's going to be obviously squats, some type of specialty bar, squat, a Romanian deadlift, stiff-legged deadlift, heavy leg press, heavy hack squat, heavy pendulum squat, things of that nature, right? I'm really going to work to limit my volume on here and really just hone in on that 1 to 2, maybe even 3 sets, 3 really hard sets for every exercise that I pick. All right, because we all know that legs are the most demanding, the most draining, right? So I'm going to go into Wednesday mashed, right? If I'm going to go into Wednesday utterly destroyed, I may as well go in there destroyed for a reason. So lower body could look like squats, leg press, leg extension, and then a Romanian deadlift. Or you could do a Romanian deadlift, then you could do some leg curls, leg extension, however you decide it. But what you want to make sure, what you want to make sure is that the lower portion is done heavy. I wouldn't dip below anything lower than 8 reps when you're starting out with something like this, right? Don't go lower than 8 reps because you're flirting with danger, especially with 2 heavy days back to back. Your mental not be all the way in or anything like that. So definitely be careful on how heavy and low and rep. Now, when you get to this day, your lower split, you don't want anything that is going to be done with a loaded barbell. We want to stay away from any type of barbell movement. So we're going to be doing basically machine based. And dumbbells are okay, but I only really want you to use them on like your lower day if you're doing single leg squats. If you're going to be doing anything single leg lunges or anything like that, I prefer it non-weighted. Also, sled pushing is excellent on this day. Very excellent. Again, no barbell on this particular day. And the advantage of having a lower day before you go into the weekend, which your Saturday and Sunday is off, you can actually do a little bit more volume here. So if your volume here was lower, which it should have been, if your volume here was lower, your volume here can be close to not twice as much, but I'd say about 1.5. So if we got a heavy 8 sets for quads, a heavy 6 sets for hamstrings, a heavy 4 sets for calves, you could do a heavy 8 sets for calves or a light 8 sets for calves, a moderate 12 sets for hamstrings, and then a moderate 10 reps, or not 10 reps, 10 sets for quads, okay? Please keep in mind that I suggest following the MEV, MRV aspect to your programming is put out by RP, but by no means, like it's scientifically sound, but if your body is recovering from these higher volumes, please continue to do so. Please continue to work really, really hard and feed the muscle and grow, okay? So, now we have the weekend off. So what do we do for the weekend? Obviously, we want to emphasize protein-rich foods. We want to get in our good carbohydrates. We probably want to front load our meals where they're the heaviest protein, some heavy carbs. You may want to schedule a cheat meal, because what you want to do is that you want to bloat up for these 2 days, right? So if you got a cheat meal and it's normally on Saturday, I'd save it for Sunday, because these are going to be brutal, all right? I'm not going to get into exercise selection. That's something that you all have to think about, but I just wanted to put this split up here today, again, just to show you how you can. One way of doing this, by no means is it a super correct way. It may not even be an optimal way, but this is a way that it worked for me, and it's a way that I definitely like to do things. As far as throwing in intensity techniques, your cluster sets, your drop sets, your anything like that, do them on your heavy day. Okay? Do them on your heavy day. On your light day, we just want to keep it straight set, low rest, and again, we're only pushing the muscle close to failure, but without a huge ass load on the bar, or on the machine rather, no bars, remember. So yeah, that's a way to do it. Also, something to keep in mind as well, if your joints can handle it, you may want to think about the exercises that you do, doing them explosively. Okay, so that's it. This is part one of training splits that I like. I hope you gleaned some type of knowledge from this. By no means is this all-inclusive or anything like that. I mean, I could talk about this ad nauseum and talk about it a million different ways, but at the end of the day, you have to find out what's best for you, and this is one way that I've done that is best for me and a couple of other people that I've given this to. So, thank you guys for watching. I hope you got something from it. Please like and subscribe to the channel. In a couple of days, we'll talk about part 2 of training splits that I like, and hopefully you all get something from it. Until then, next time, this is Tenacitystrength, Larry Brown, and we will talk to you next time.